All right, welcome back to Bitcoin Advisors channel. My name is Chris, bringing it to you here from Westlake Village, California, where it is going to be another hot one. And once again, we kind of have the same thing to talk about here on Bitcoin. We've been talking about this for the past, back since, I don't know, I'd say early January. And we've been saying resolution of the range, any kind of a daily closure above 46 or below 33 is going to get us the next momentous move. And right now, I'd even lower that down to about 44,500 to the upside, 44,500 to the upside. And that's on a daily closure. And then I'd go ahead and mark this off right here, because we've been in a very tight range for some time, and then 37,000 to the downside. And, that's going to give us the next momentous move. I do believe so. And we are putting in higher lows all the way along this range here. So that looks good for a little bit more of an upside bias. Let's check out some of our other momentum indicators. So we do have declining volatility, and we do have momentum to the downside. And do we have any bullish or bearish divergence here? Coming in from this point, no. Coming in from this point, no. And then bearish divergence, we are making lower highs all the way along here. So again, this is getting very wound up, and I do believe there will be a pretty big move out of this range. And pretty much, the play for the past few weeks has been sell 39.5, buy 38.5, $1,000 range. It has been dead boring in this market, and that's sometimes what trading is. It's a game of patience, a game of waiting until everybody gets so bored they're not paying attention anymore, and that is usually when you get the big move. And what is this move going to look like to the upside? I would go wick to wick here and say to the upside, we got a target of about 51.5 or 52,000. And then to the downside, I do believe we have a target sitting down there at about 25,000 to the downside. So I do believe that will be mediated with a closure on a daily time frame basis. If you want to be a little more aggressive, 37,000 to the upside or to the downside, and 44.5 to the upside. What else do I want to take a look at? What do we got going on the lower term time frames? So if we do start to see, and we will have a daily Stokes cross up with any kind of a closure above 40,260. But they are still nosediving at the moment with declining volatility. So that lines up with more of this being more of a corrective bounce. If we do start to see volatility tick up, and I think you might be able to front run this decision with a daily closure above 42,000, and that very likely gets us to the top side of the range, at which point we will be testing the top side of the range. 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be 5 times. And the bottom side of the range, 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, very, very, tight price action here. Price action getting wound up. Says we're going to get a decent sized move. If we look at the 4-hour time frame, do we have any? So 4-hour will cross back up alongside volatility turning up with any kind of a 4-hour closure back above 39.5. And I do believe any kind of a 4-hour above 40,000 likely gets you to that move back to 42.5. And with volatility starting to increase, and this guy is getting close to crossing up, but not quite there yet. We've been getting rejected off the 39.5 area for some time. So are we going to play out the same move we've been playing out for the last few weeks? Sell 39.5, buy 38.5. I don't know, but I think a lot of it has to do with what's going on with the Fed date tomorrow. People waiting tomorrow to see if we're actually just going to get a 0.25% rate hike, which is right in line with expectations. And I do believe if the Fed just does what it says it's going to do, then likely the market does get a bit of a relief rally. Nasdaq here. And so what are we going to take a look at? The Nasdaq, dollar, gold. We'll look at a few altcoins as well. But I'd say Nasdaq on the daily time frame has been just straight nose diving. And if we can't get a daily back above 1386, that very likely gets us a move to the green 55. I do believe we have some bullish divergence playing out here. Yes, we do. 1, 2, almost 3 drives, and that'll be confirmed with a daily closure above 13,526. And that gets you a move. First target is the yellow 21. Second target is the green 55, or the top side of this range here. I do think that comes alongside, and we will cross momentum to the upside. Volatility is getting rather high here, so might be the end of this corrective move. However, we got a couple of big X factors, which really could put the damper on things, and that is inflation, that's the war in Russia, and the rate hikes. If the Fed comes out and is a little more hawkish than expected because of the oil prices, I don't think that bodes well for anything. Anything else I want to point out on Nasdaq, which is looking rather droopy, and some people are saying, yes, this market top is in. I never doubt the market that, it's never good to short a generational rally here. We don't have a monthly closure below the yellow 21. If we do close this month below the yellow 21 or below last month's low, very likely I think we get a swipe down to that green 55. But and do we have any divergences playing out here? So yeah, we will have one massive drive of bullish divergence if we can close the following month back above 14,500. As for now, volatility is down, momentum is down, so this does line up with more of a corrective move, not necessarily a monumental catastrophic move to the downside. Yeah, and that will be actually and again, what is bullish divergence? When hidden bullish divergence in an uptrend, when price is making lower lows and high RSI is making higher lows. Vice versa. Regular bullish divergence is when price is making higher lows and RSI is making lower lows. And we will have, I think, some drives going back. We want to see a clear stop and reverse point. Would you consider this a low? Yes. This a low? Yes. This a low? Yes. Maybe not. But going back to this guy right here or right here, that might give you the 3 drives. And this is on a monthly time frame. The month isn't going to close for another 15 days, so I don't know how helpful that is. Let's check out the weekly. The weekly looking a bit, and it is just getting a slew of lower lows here and no confirmed highs. So at some point, this guy is going to make a lower high. And where does that come in? Typically, the bull trap zone right between the 618 and the 0.5. So that is going to be somewhere around 15,200. I do think at some point we are going to get some kind of a bounce, and then we'll see if the bounce can hold. And overall, that would be good for Bitcoin, and that would be in line with Bitcoin starting to make a little bit of a rally. What else? We'll see the 5-day Stokes cross up here with any kind of a closure back above 14,111. We are, fairly far away from that happening on the 5-day, coming up here in the next, coming up tomorrow, coming up today actually for Nasdaq. However, on the other side of the fence, Bitcoin's 5-day. Which, again, so Bitcoin's kind of doing whatever Nasdaq does. It's highly correlated at the moment. And we will have just several drives of bullish divergence. That is, again, price making higher lows and RSI making lower lows. Going all the way back to this guy right here. So that does align, I think, with more of a bounce for Nasdaq, alongside Bitcoin getting a bit of a bounce. So throwing Bitcoin back on here, something else I wanted to point out, which is going to give me the bias of a 45% move or higher coming this week, and something Mr. Eric Crown popped out or shouted out, and I'll give him a shout out for that, is the 5-day stochastic on the 5-day BBWP. So what you can see here in the 5-day for Bitcoin is going to close tomorrow at, I believe it is 5 p.m. Pacific time. Let's see, when does the day close today? So it is 11:20 in 5 hours and 30 minutes. So that lines up. Yeah, 5 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow, we will have the 5-day closure. And anytime BBWP has gotten this low on the 5-day, we have seen some rather momentous moves. I've marked them off here, and I might as well mark this one off as well with a nice horizontal line. A nice vertical line. And so why am I marking these off? So every time volatility has been this low, the average move has been 45% or greater. Starting here, this move, I'll just mark this one. And volatility is direction neutral, so it doesn't tell us which direction price is going to go, but it does tell us that, hey, a big move is coming. And this one, okay, better yet, I will go like this, and I will show you here. So this one got a 42% move to the downside. This one here had a 48% move to the upside. This one here, 77% or call it 80% move to the upside. This one here, a 51% move to the downside. And this one here, you could measure it from this low to this high, because what you'll notice is when volatility gets high, that means we're coming to the end of the move. So 77%. So volatility gets low. When it gets high, that means, okay, the move's probably run out, right? So volatility gets low, boom. And as you can see, volatility explodes to the upside and price went down. Volatility explodes to the upside, and where does it end? When volatility gets around 77 to 85%, in this case 64%, in that case 57%. So that is your indicator when the move is almost over. So can this thing go lower? Can volatility go a bit lower? Yes. Could we drag this on for a few more weeks? Yes. Is this move going to happen? No, but what else you'll notice is the stochastics, which we did say crossed to the downside last week, giving us kind of a downside bias. However, what you will see is the 5-day Stokes are going to cross up with any kind of a closure above 38,300 coming in tomorrow, 5 p.m. Pacific time. And that would be, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's going to be a big indication, because volatility, basically, what do we see here? The last time volatility was low and Stokes were down, we got a big move down. Okay. This time, Stokes crossed back up and we got the move to the upside. And again, this is the momentum indicator. Stokes crossed up, momentum went to the upside, Stokes were down, momentum went to the downside, and Stokes crossed up and price went to the upside. So if we close anywhere tomorrow below 38,300, Stokes will remain to the downside, giving us a downside bias. And what else would I say? Important to catch on here, the daily momentum. If we can get a daily closure back above, let's actually throw on a fib here to see where the bull trap's going to come in. Out of this consolidation, we've got a massive range here. And do we want to do a bullish retracement, a bearish retracement? This is a bearish retracement. And typically what you will see here on a Fibonacci perspective, is once a range is established, you have the bots and algos, which will be essentially buying the 618 and selling the 382 and the 236. Or they will buy the 618 and the 786, and they will sell the 382 and the 236. So typically, bull traps on a bullish retracement come in at the 0.5 and the 618. And I would say any kind of a daily closure back even above. No, I won't say that. I'm gonna move it back to this, from this low to this high, and say any kind of a daily closure, yeah, back above 42,700. You might be able to go ahead and front run that decision to the upside. Why? Because that will bleed over. And do I see that happening today? I mean, based on today's price action, probably not. Nasdaq was up 300 points at one point. Now we're at 257. So again, kind of a tight range going into the Fed announcement tomorrow regarding those rate hikes and whatever comments Powell wants to make. If we went on a wick-to-wick basis, where would this put us? Where's that 618 coming in? Yeah, right. It's coming in right at the green 55. So maybe you could front run it with a daily closure back above 41,200. So, yep. And then, you know, again, this is the line to the downside. This is the line to the upside for me in particular right now. Just patience is the name of the game. Now, what else do I want to touch on? The dollar is still moonshotting to the moon. We've been bullish on the dollar and saying, hey, look, you know, and I put out a video yesterday, except for I forgot to post it. So that's sometimes what happens. But what we do have is, do we have any bearish divergence on the daily here? No. Clear stop and reverse points, higher low, higher low, higher low. And I mean, technically, yes, if you're looking at maybe this high right here, if you got 1, 2 drives of bearish divergence and volatility is maxed and we'll be crossing down or is crossed down, we'll cross up with any kind of a daily closure back above 99.19. Where are we at? Oh, we're at 98.17 right now. So is this move kind of waning here? And it does look like it is possibly waning. But so bottom line is, I kind of drew this on my chart yesterday saying, hey, here's what else would line up with the dollar perhaps doing something over the next month or two. Maybe this is more clear on a weekly. We're getting a golden cross on the dollar here as we are breaking the range on, or we already broke the range on the weekly, but this is our target for the dollar up here at about 102, 103. And that's coming off this long consolidation from August of 2020 to the break of the range here. And actually, you would have front run it right there with that high and this higher low. That was our first higher high and higher low, and that's where we got bullish on the dollar. And yeah, bottom line is, you know, could the dollar you know, come back down? Maybe not that low, but possibly. Could it come back down just to this guy right here at 97? I do believe if the dollar did come down here, where's momentum? Momentum is crossed up as long as we're closing weeklies above 97.29. And that is a drive of bearish divergence if we do. And this isn't a confirmed local high yet. So on the weekly, nothing to be said there yet. But this would be the first drive of bearish divergence as we are making a higher high. Actually, this would be the second. So if we do confirm a higher high here and RSI cannot get back above this guy, then you'd have 2 drives of bearish divergence and maybe a shot back down to the bottom side of the range, which, you know, likely comes in around the 21 at 96. at least a minimum of 97.50, and that would line up with Bitcoin getting a little bit of a relief rally here. What is she doing right now on? Well, that wraps it up for Bitcoin, the Nasdaq, and the dollar. Some people are interested in gold, and we did say last week gold hitting 2050 was very likely to pull back to the 9 exponential with a tick below this guy on the weekly. And I would say dollar comes back down, or gold comes back down to 1887, kind of retest the support level here. That's completely fine as long as gold does not start closing dailies back below 1875. I am bullish on the dollar. We can see that volatility got to the max here. So, you know, does that line up with maybe a little cooling off period for gold? I don't think it cools off that much. I do think very, very likely gold is in for, you know, making some new all-time highs. Did we actually make a new all-time high on gold? And it does not look like we did. So if we're getting really, really into the nitty-gritty here, I'd move that trend line right here and say, yep, we were about, you know, $5 lower than a new all-time high. And we will have at least one drive of bullish divergence if we can confirm this as a local low. Not confirmed until we get a daily closure back above 1966. And that would look good for at least a bounce up to the 618 on this retracement. So who knows what gold's going to do, but I do believe, you know, anytime you get back to the all-time high and you're grinding it up there and inflation's high, war is out, and rates are going up. When interest rates go up, actually, that's one of the highest factors for essentially one of the strongest factors, if you go back and look in history, when rates are going up. Why do rates go up? The government's got to fight inflation. So if inflation is running rampant, what does that mean for gold? Usually going to go higher. What does that mean for Bitcoin? Bitcoin is digital gold, probably going to go higher. Even if we have a monthly that comes back down, we have been saying, look, the monthly is going to close here for Bitcoin. You know, sorry, that's gold. Let's see. And that is good to look at the monthly for gold. And you can see we're getting a big rejection off there. Again, we were saying up there, you know, might want to take some profits on gold, but nobody really short-term trades gold anyways, especially you physical gold holders out there. I do know a lot of people are kind of reaching back out to me. Very reminiscent of the times, and you know, being in the gold industry, everybody wants to buy when it's high and wants to sell when it's low. Very similarly on Bitcoin here, and here's what I would say to be aware of and why I am more in line with a bit of a bounce. If we can confirm this as a higher low, get a monthly closure back above 45,000 here in the next 15 days, we will very, very likely play out that bull trap. And why do I say that? Stokes are crossing down here. Momentum will remain to the downside as long as we're below 61,300. So what have we been talking about over and over and over on the weekly time frame, saying, hey, look, bull traps come in right around the 618, not 0.5. And where does that line up with? If we go wick to wick on this last down spill here, coming in at 55,000, somewhere between 51 and 55,000. That's where you're looking for the bull trap, and confirmation would be a weekly closure back below the 382. So just to reiterate that, as long as we have that on the board, and what else do we have? A little bit more on the macro bearish side would be the monthly MACD cross to the downside. And this has participated. It has precipitated some major legs down in past markets. So I'm going to pull up the BLX chart, which is our longest history for Bitcoin price action. And every time we've gotten the MACD cross to the downside, well, that has usually played out some significant moves to the downside. I guess the most recent one that was significant coming in right here at June of 2018. And where would that have been? June of 2018. So Bitcoin's price was at, call it 6,200, put out a bull trap right there and came back up to 8,000. And then we had the massive drop down, the Black Swan event. No, that was March of 2022. And we also had a cross down there as well. And that cross started out here, didn't officially cross until February of 2022. March was the coronavirus dump. What else do I want to, what else lines up with a bit of a bounce here is the accumulation distribution indicator, which did get a positive slope this month. And every time we've seen this thing retain a positive slope, typically you want to see it come from this area or this area, and vice versa. The negative slope on this has participated some, big moves to the downside. This one starting in July of 21. This upside move, May of 2020. And this one was January 2019. Let's just see where that lined up. Yeah, January 2019. I believe that was the last time the Fed started, raising rates, and then he really quick walked back his word. So that is a point for the bulls there. And okay, what coin do I want to cover today? And look at this monthly. Massively bullish on this guy, closing above the topside Challenger band. Usually the first closure below is not the one that gets it down, but this guy did, I believe, make all-time highs. I'm going to throw back on my regular chart here, and I'm going to throw this back up, and I'm going to go like that. So what do we have here on Mr. Luna, which had a nice little pump fake out rally yesterday on the daily, and putting in a bit of a higher low, and I believe that was the second drive of bullish divergence. Yes, so price is making higher lows, RSI is making lower lows. This was a confirmed higher low, and that's why I am more on the upside bias here. I don't think we bust on through yet here today or tomorrow, but I do believe we head back up somewhere in this region, possibly put in. Yeah, that would look really nice actually for another play to the downside if we could make a new higher high on the daily and put in. Did we actually get a closing higher high? Yes, we did. So right here, and you can see that's a higher high and a much lower high there. Also, we've got bearish divergence coming in here, two higher highs and a lower high. And this would be, if we can confirm this as a local high, and that would be confirmed with any kind of a daily closure back below 86.50, that would give us 2 drives of bearish divergence, at least a move down to about 83. And another thing on the daily time frame I would be looking for is this Stokes to cross back up before we get the next momentous move. Why do I think we can get a bounce up to possibly the 618? Let's see if that already happened here on Luna. Not quite yet. And that's why I am more in line with this thing giving a little bit of one more last rally, maybe up to the 786, but any kind of a higher high than this high, and then it becomes a lower high in RSI. That would be another 2 drives of bearish divergence, and very likely, this guy can come all the way down to $75. But momentum will remain to the downside as long as we are closing below 102. If we do get a daily closure above there, volatility starting to tick up, I do think that would be very, very likely. This guy makes new all-time highs this month. If in that case, and the next target on this one is going to be at 115 with a short-term stop, and then ultimate target up there. And that would be a break off of this range. No. Let's see. Yeah, I believe that is coming from this consolidation there. Oops. So this is just a massive consolidation over the past few months for Mr. Luna, going back to December of 21, where, you know, I know people were getting really bullish on this guy, including myself, as we made new all-time highs right there. But, yep. So we did get the confirmation, a daily closure back above this guy right here. And how does this typically work? Yeah, this guy can come all the way like this. This one plays out very, very technically. And how do those bots and algos work? Again, they typically, on a bullish retracement, they're going to buy the 382 and the 236. Okay. That's this guy and this guy. And then they're going to sell the 786 and the 618. And I wonder how that lines up over here. So they are, I don't know if they were buying right here, but you did see a little buy there, back up to the 0.5. Yeah, buy the 382, sell the 618 or the 786. We came a bit lower. And then what do we see here? Selling the 786, buying the 618. I don't know. This one's looking bullish, but I would say that this guy could wick down here to 74 to 66 bucks, and we will still have momentum to the upside as long as we are closing weeklies above 62.72. And that would be right in line with the 382 fib. So at best, do I think we can get a wick down there? Yes. Ultimately, I do think, if not this month, maybe next month, we're looking at some new all-time highs. And that is if Bitcoin decides it wants to party on to the upside and resolve this range to the upside. Again, daily closure above 44.5 or below 37 is what to be looking out for, in my opinion. Alongside volatility starting to cross up. That's going to be wrapping it up for me today. We're 30 minutes into this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. And remember, we're not financial advisors. It's not financial advice. I'm just giving you my opinion over the interwebs here. If you enjoyed our daily analysis, please do click the like and subscribe. Get a reminder of all the updates we have and new resources we put out. Also, if you're interested in learning about incorporating Bitcoin or other cryptos in your IRA, there is a link in the description below. Thanks a lot and have a blessed day.